Genetic engineering has shown another miracle. Now dinosaurs will roam the world. Jurassic Park has turned into reality. 10,000 years old wolves were reborn in America. How was this miracle accomplished? Which technology was used? And is it possible that in the future we will be able to see the ancient animals alive in front of us again? Let's see in today's podcast. You are present in this service with Dr. Nasir Baig on VLC Podcast. Assalamu alaikum. When the Jurassic Park came for the first time in the youth, everyone was stunned to see such dinosaurs on the big screen. It felt as if it was a reality, such a huge park with such huge dinosaurs. The theory behind it was that scientists reborn the dinosaurs from fossils. After that, the dinosaurs laid eggs and their generation continued to grow. This is a different thing that they were given the color of the story and how they got out of control. But this story is going to become a reality. It is possible that in the next 5 to 10 years, we will be able to see a real dinosaur in a Jurassic Park. Today, we are going to talk about a scientific progress that may have come out of science fiction stories or films and has become a reality. We will talk about the American company Colossal Biosciences, which has claimed that it has brought back the 10,000-year-old dire wolf. Yes, you heard it right, 2 males and 1 female dire wolf. Their children have been created through genetic engineering. Today we will know how this miracle was made possible. What is Colossal Biosciences? Who are these people? What were the dire wolves? How can the future change? So let's start the journey. Genetic engineering is not a new concept, but the progress that has been made in it in recent years is amazing. Today we are going to talk about a new tool of gene editing called CRISPR. With this, you can not only understand the DNA of an animal, but also change it. CRISPR is a kind of genetic scissors. Those who use a computer will have an idea that if you have an image you can cut a portion of it. So you can understand that CRISPR is exactly the same as if you have a genetic set and you have it in front of you and you can cut a portion of that gene. And from somewhere else you can copy the pool of some other gene and paste it there. And that is why CRISPR is also called a genetic scissor. It cuts specific parts of the DNA, removes it, or makes it easier to change it. With the help of this, scientists are looking for a cure for diseases. They're making crops better. And now, they're also bringing back the dead animals. Colossal Biosciences used the same technology to recreate the dire wolf. They used the ancient DNA, which was obtained from fossils that are like thousands of years old, and mixed it with the genome of the living wolf, the gray wolf. The largest and most powerful wolf among all is called the gray wolf. So the scientists mixed the genes obtained from the fossils with the genome, and then, with the help of surrogate dogs, these babies were born. We all know that surrogacy is when you use someone else's womb. You make an embryo and shift it to the dogs until they grow up. This process, though, is not as simple as I've just described. It involves years of research, millions of dollars of capital, and of course modern scientific tools. But the result? 3 living dire wolf babies named Remus, Remus, and Khaleesi. And for those who know about Remus, yep, Remus was a werewolf in Harry Potter. Khaleesi was the name of the queen in Game of Thrones. All these names, the imaginary books and characters. But now, let's talk about something real. Colossal Biosciences. So, when exactly was this company established? What does it actually do? Who are the people behind it? Well, let me tell you a bit about its background. Colossal was founded in the year 2021 by Ben Leem, a technology entrepreneur. And co-founding it with him was George Church, a renowned genius scientist from Harvard University. The mission of Colossal is to bring back extinct animals and help restore the environmental balance of our planet. Yeah, it's definitely not a small dream. Since it began, the company has already raised more than $435 million in funding. Now, fundraising is of course crucial for any entrepreneur, and Colossal's success is impressive. Over $435 million raised, and its valuation stands at more than $10 billion. Their first major success? The werewolf. But before that there was something called the woolly mouse. It's basically a mouse that carries the characteristics of a woolly mammoth. A mammoth, as you probably know, is a very large elephant that once roamed the earth. Scientists managed to create this woolly mouse by combining the genes of rats with those of mammoths. What they ended up with were mice and rats with thick hair. They looked super cute and honestly became quite famous. These little creatures carried some of the key features of the woolly mammoth. So, what's next? Well, Colossal is now working on bringing back the mammoth, the dodo, and the Tasmanian tiger. But let's talk a bit more about the werewolves. Colossal has been working on this for quite a few years now. They've been collaborating with museums to extract DNA from ancient fossils, and they've even set up new laboratories. In October 2024, 2 male pups were born, and in January 2025, a female pup was born. So what exactly is a dire wolf? What is a dire wolf? Where was it found? How old was it? In which regions did it live? And how is it different from our modern gray wolf? Well, dire wolves were part of a large wolf family. Their scientific name is Anociondirus. They went extinct somewhere between 12,500 and 13,000 years ago. These wolves lived in North America, and their range stretched all the way from Canada down to Venezuela. They were truly one of the iconic animals of the last ice age. They shared their territory with saber-toothed cats. And yes, dire wolves were definitely different from the common gray wolves we know today. For starters, they were about 25% larger in size. They could weigh up to 150 pounds. Their jaws were more powerful, and their heads were just a little bit wider than modern wolves. Their skins were often used for hiding. They were hypercarnivores, meaning their diet was made up of more than 70% meat, including horse meat, bison meat, and more. Scientists still aren't totally sure why they went extinct, but many believe it was due to climatic changes and the disappearance of their prey. The first fossils of the dire wolf were discovered in Ohio, way back in 1854. Since then, thousands of remains have been found. So now let's take a look at how these dire wolves were brought back after 10,000 years. So, how exactly was this achieved? First, scientists extracted ancient DNA, one sample from a 13,000-year-old tooth, and another from a 72,000-year-old ear bone. From that DNA, they mapped out the entire genome of the dire wolf. That was the very first step. In the next step, they edited 14 specific genes in 20 different locations within the genome of the gray wolf, which is the closest living relative. These genes were responsible for special features like large size, white skin, powerful jaws, and even their unique vocalizations. And from these edited features, the embryos were then implanted into the wombs of surrogate dogs. After 62 days, healthy pups were born, both male and female. These pups are now living in a secret 2,000-acre protected area somewhere in North America, where they're being closely monitored. Colossal calls this process functional de-extinction. In other words, they're not just bringing back the species, they're also restoring its original role in the environment. That's the story of the dire wolf's return. But now the question is, how might this progress shape the future? What kind of impact could it have? One of the biggest potential benefits is restoring environmental balance. Predatory animals like the dire wolf help control populations of species like deer, which, without predators, are now becoming a major environmental issue. For example, in the United States alone, about 1.5 million deer collide with cars every year, causing billions of dollars in damage. But of course, there are concerns too. If these animals are released into the wild, will they be able to adapt to the modern environment? And what if unexpected genetic changes occur? Some scientists argue that instead of reviving extinct species, our focus should be on protecting the endangered species that are still with us today. But as we've seen in countless Hollywood movies, genetic engineering can sometimes lead to unintended consequences. Maybe it increases aggression, maybe it changes behavior in unpredictable ways. At the end of the day, only time will tell if these fears are valid. For now, the hope is that this will help restore ecological balance. with your friends and family, so they can learn about it too.